will remember this day for as long as I live, with great gratitude.
Airports 1 Roger Belfast, we have the field in sight.
After months of speculation, the presidential visit is a reality. The leader of the world's superpower becomes the first serving American president to come to Northern Ireland. A Downing Street summit 2 nights previously means this is a purposeful as well as historic trip for Bill and Hillary Clinton. The president has endorsed the Anglo-Irish twin-track plan, but his message is not primarily a political one. He is not here as a broker. He will use the great weight of his office to talk peace to the people as they enjoy the new life made possible by the ceasefires. And it is to the people that he goes first, to West Belfast and the Shankill Road. In an area that has suffered much during the Troubles, on a road where few politicians can walk with confidence, the man from a town called Hope brings just that. The world's most powerful leader is clearly delighted by the warmth of the welcome, and he goes on a walkabout. How the images from the Shankill have changed. Just 2 years ago, this was the scene of one of the most appalling atrocities of the Troubles. Contrast then with a day like this. President Clinton's first formal engagement is at Mackay International, which straddles the West Belfast peace line.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
His warm reception is just as expected. What isn't anticipated is this moving introduction from a little girl.
My name is Catherine Hamill. My daddy works as an assistant at Stuart's warehouse. I live in Belfast. I love where I live. My first daddy died in the Troubles. It was the saddest day of my life.
It was 8 years ago that Catherine's father was killed. At the funeral, she was a baby in her mother's arms.
I still think of him. Now it is nice and peaceful. I like having peace and quiet for a change, instead of people shooting and killing. My Christmas wish is that peace and love will last in Ireland forever. Please have a safe journey back to America. I hope you enjoyed your visit to Ireland.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is one of those occasions where I really feel that all that needs to be said has already been said. I thank Catherine and David for introducing me, for all the school children of Northern Ireland who are here today, and for all whom they represent. A big part of peace is children growing up safely, learning together, and growing together. It is good to be among the people of Northern Ireland who have given so much to America and the world. Here in Northern Ireland, you are making a miracle symbolized by those 2 children who held hands and told us what this whole thing is all about. In the land of the harp and the fiddle, the fife and the lambeck drum, 2 proud traditions are coming together in the harmonies of peace. The ceasefire and the negotiations have sparked a powerful transformation. Mackay's plant is a symbol of Northern Ireland's rebirth. It has long been a symbol of world-class engineering. The textile machines you make permit people to weave disparate threads into remarkable fabrics. That is now what you must do here with the people of Northern Ireland. With every extra day that the guns are still, business confidence grows stronger and the promise of prosperity grows as well. As the shroud of terror melts away, Northern Ireland's beauty has been revealed again to all the world. The castles and coasts, the Giant's Causeway, the lush green hills, the high white cliffs, a magical backdrop to your greatest asset, which I saw all along the way from the airport here today, the warmth and good feeling of your people. Visitors are now coming in record numbers. Indeed, today, the air route between Belfast and London is the second busiest in all of Europe. I want to honor those whose courage and vision have brought us to this point. Prime Minister Major, Prime Minister Bruton, and before him, Prime Minister Reynolds, laid the background and the basis for this era of reconciliation. From the Downing Street Declaration to the Joint Framework document, they altered the course of history. Now, just in the last few days, by launching the Twin Track Initiative, they have opened a promising new gateway to a just and lasting peace. You must say to those who still would use violence for political objectives, you are the past. Your day is over. Violence has no place at the table of democracy and no role in the future of this land. By the same token, you must also be willing to say to those who renounce violence and who do take their own risks for peace that they are entitled to be full participants in the democratic process. Those who show the courage Those who do show the courage to break with the past are entitled to their stake in the future. But peace must be waged with a warrior's resolve, bravely, proudly, and relentlessly, secure in the knowledge of the single greatest difference between war and peace. In peace, everybody can win.
At Mackay's factory, it was invitation only. On the Springfield Road, there was a more impromptu welcome waiting. Earlier, he'd been on the Shankill, and reflecting the symmetry of his visit, he wanted to meet the people of the Falls as well. Thousands of well-wishers turned out to see him. Here, as elsewhere, there are hundreds of police officers and American security men on duty. If they expected any kind of hostility throughout the day, there was none, for Bill Clinton is among friends here. The next stop is the East Belfast Enterprise Park off the Albert Bridge Road, a small business centre backed by the local Enterprise Development Unit and the International Fund for Ireland. The President met and chatted with some of those involved in business and job creation here. His words are complimentary.
We see it even in our own country, some places that others had given up on, thought, where there would never be any economic opportunity there again. The most successful thing that has been done, even in our own country, are starting things like the International Fund for Ireland. But it works better here, what you're doing through these community groups, than almost any other place that I'm aware of in the world. And you said it yourself, sir. I think you said you had, in this consortium, 200 companies with 900 employees. That's an average number of employees of somewhere between 4 and 5. But if you look at the cost, what did you say, £13.5 million? I think I can still do exchange rates, even though presidents are disabled from all practical things. They don't get to buy food or drive cars or exchange money. But that's pretty low cost per job creation. And so I think that's very, very important, and I applaud all of you for what you're doing.
Well, I'm the Alicia McIntyre, and I work for a group in Belfast
Hillary Clinton, meanwhile, was enjoying some hospitality on Belfast's Ormer Road. Here she met Joyce McCartin, who's involved in community work. Mrs. Clinton was asked if she and her husband would come back to Northern Ireland.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I don't know if we'll come back while my husband is still president, although I hope so in his next term to be able to come back. But certainly we will come back. There's no doubt about that.
They'd flown out of Heathrow, been to Belfast International and Belfast City, and that meant that City of Derry at Eglinton was their fourth airport of the day. Such are the movements of a president and first lady in a hurry to meet as many people as possible. For the reception committee, the wait was worthwhile. Mr. Clinton was animated and genuinely pleased to be there. By the time the president got to Guildhall Square, the festive spirit had very definitely taken over.
1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the President and the First Lady of Hillary Clinton. Hillary and I are proud to be here in the home of Ireland's most tireless champion for civil rights and its most eloquent voice of nonviolence, John Hume. I know that at least twice already I have had the honor of hosting John and Pat in Washington, and the last time I saw him I said, "You can't come back to Washington one more time until you let me come to Derry." And here I am. All of you know that this city is a very different place from what a visitor like me would have seen just a year and a half ago, before the ceasefire. Crossing the border now is as easy as crossing a speed bump. The soldiers are off the streets, the city walls are open to civilians. There are no more shakedowns as you walk into a store. Daily life has become more ordinary, but this will never be an ordinary city. I came here because you are making a home for peace to flourish and endure. A local climate responsible this week for the announcement of new business operations that offer significant new opportunities to you, as well as new hope. Let me applaud also the success of the Inner City Trust and Patty Doherty, who have put people to work rebuilding bombed-out buildings, building new ones, and building up confidence and civic pride. Standing here in front of the Guildhall, looking out over these historic walls, I see a peaceful city, a safe city, a hopeful city, full of young people that should have a peaceful and prosperous future here where their roots and families are. That is what I see today with you. And so I ask you to build on the opportunity you have before you, to believe that the future can be better than the past, to work together because you have so much more to gain by working together than by drifting apart. Have the patience to work for a just and lasting peace. Reach for it. The United States will reach with you. The further shore of that peace is within your reach. Thank you, and God bless you all.
From the Diamond to the city walls, there was a sea of people hoping to meet the Clintons and thank them for coming. Inside the Guildhall, the President unveils the Tip O'Neill chair. It's named after the late Speaker of the House of Representatives, and it marks the introduction of an American bursary for peace studies at the University of Ulster. As a tribute, Phil Coulter dedicates the town I loved so well.
Once again, sing it with me. For what's done is done, and what's won is won, and what's lost is lost and gone forever. I can only pray for a bright, brand new day in the town I love so well.
The presidential cavalcade, now back in Belfast, heads for the City Hall, where a massive welcome has been prepared. What a picture it was. The City Hall Christmas tree, specially flown in from Nashville, Belfast's twin city, awaited the President, who would throw the switch to its 1,000 lights. Some 80,000 people had gathered here. Donegal Place was packed, and the crowds stretched to Royal Avenue and Castle Junction and beyond. They were laughing, cheering and waving flags. Those who couldn't see the stage watched massive screens which had been erected to relay the pictures firsthand. What an evening of sheer excitement this was to be. Synonymous with the bright side of Northern Ireland, the peace and the electric atmosphere here this evening is Van Morrison. Appearing with him is Brian Kennedy, and Van's bass guitarist Belfast man Nicky Scott leads the band. Days like this is what everyone wants to hear.
Then you must remember there'll be days like this when you don't need an answer. There'll be days like this when you don't need a chance. There'll be days like this when everything seems like it fits. Oh, you have to remember there'll be days like this. Whenever one is up front, get enough answers. there'll be days like this. Oh, my mama told me, she said, there'll be days like this.
Days like this. It was the cue for the high point of the evening. Enter the President of the United States and the First Lady, Hillary Rodham Clinton. It was Mrs. Clinton who spoke first.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor, and thank all of you. Tonight is a night filled with hope and peace. And for those of us gathered here throughout Northern Ireland and around the world, often it is our children who offer us the clearest and purest reasons why peace and why this peace process is so important. In a moment, the Christmas tree will be lit, as Christmas trees will be lit all over the world in the days to come. This Christmas, let us remember the reason behind why we light Christmas trees. Let us remember the reason for this great holiday celebration. And let us remember that we seek peace most of all for our children. May this be one of many, many happy and peaceful Christmases in Northern Ireland this year and for many years to come. And may God keep you and bless you and hold all of you in the palm of his hand. Thank you and God bless you.
Attention then focused upon the Christmas tree. President Clinton had invited two youngsters who'd written to him, Kathy Hart and Mark Lennox, to help him throw the switch. The countdown, led by the Lord Mayor, began.
10, come on, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Thank you very much. To the Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress, let me begin by saying to all of you, Hillary and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts for making us feel so very, very welcome in Belfast and Northern Ireland. This has been a wonderful way for us to begin the Christmas holidays. I know here in Belfast you've been lighting the Christmas tree for more than 20 years, but this year must be especially joyous to you, for you are entering your second Christmas of peace. As I look down these beautiful streets, I think how wonderful it will be for people to do their holiday shopping without worry of searches or bombs, to visit loved ones on the other side of the border without the burden of checkpoints or roadblocks, to enjoy these magnificent Christmas lights without any fear of violence. Peace has brought real change to your lives. I have received thousands of letters from school children all over your remarkable land, telling me what peace means to them. Despite the extraordinary hardships so many of these children have faced, their letters were full of hope and love and humor. To all of you who took the time to write me, you brightened my holiday season with your words of faith and courage, and I thank you. To all of you who asked me to do what I could to help peace take root, I pledge you America's support. We will stand with you as you take risks for peace. This is Christmas. We celebrate the world in a new way because of the birth of Emmanuel, God with us. And when God was with us, he said no words more important than these: "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the earth." Merry Christmas, and God bless you all.
From the City Hall, the presidential cavalcade was on the road again for the final engagement of the day at Queen's University. There, the Secretary of State, Sir Patrick Mayhew, and Lady Mayhew hosted a reception to mark the end of the visit. It was here that the President delivered a strong political message with the same theme of promoting and encouraging peace.
I will remember this day for as long as I live, with great gratitude. And let me say what I have said all day: I am proud that the United States stands with the peacemakers here. We respect each tradition equally. We believe peace can be built here on the basis of mutual consent, and in fact only on that basis. We continue to stand with those who take risks, and we want to see that there are clear, concrete benefits to peace through trade and investment and new jobs and new futures. We will do everything we can to work with all of you to sustain the momentum that Northern Ireland has at this point. People must make their own peace from their heads and from their hearts. All we can do is to do the very best we can to create the best conditions in which people can make peace, to give the greatest encouragement to the process of peace, and to offer the hope of every reward we can possibly help to provide. That is our role. That will remain our role. The details, the direction, and the question of whether you will go forward, that, my friends, is all up to you. But if you do, we will be proud to walk with you. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
It had been a day of applause for a president who always looked and sounded as though he had a personal interest in promoting and sustaining peace in Northern Ireland. Accordingly, he was given a welcome, which he himself admitted he would never forget.
Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Wonder no prima donna. Wonder no prima donna. My mama told me there'll be days like this. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Oh, my mama told me, she said, there'll be days like this.